Welcome back to the 21 Boom guided meditation series. This is Coach Feeney and I'll be your guide. And as we're going along week to week here, now that you have a sense of the dimensions of mindfulness, it's time to explore how to develop it, as mindfulness is a way of living that's cultivated by practice. Few people live with continual awareness, so for most of us, mindfulness training means becoming aware once you're already distracted. You'll probably find yourself caught up in distractions hundreds of times a day, but choosing awareness even once is a victory, no matter how fleeting that moment may be. It's a step in retraining yourself after years of unhelpful habitual behavior. In time, awareness itself becomes a habit. Mindfulness practice is like any other training. If you want to become an athlete, you need to develop certain muscles so that you can run with ease. To cultivate mindfulness, you must train your awareness so that it becomes an increasingly reliable source of strength and stability. Today, what I plan on going over and describing is 5 steps or progressive stages in developing mindfulness that offer a realistic and sustainable approach to practice for those of us living with any type of pain or illness. And as we talked about last week, there's a complex interaction between physical, emotional, and mental realms, and it makes it inaccurate to say a discomfort is just mental and emotional or just physical. Significant physical pain is emotionally difficult, and significant emotional pain has physical consequences and correlates. Even so, there are some physical conditions that are so difficult that a special approach may be helpful. And of course, including some mindfulness exercises and guided meditation later on here that will also include the first 4 steps. So, step 1 is the starting point of awareness. The first step in developing mindfulness is simply to become more familiar with what's actually happening in each moment. For example, you can become aware of your breath, of your body as you sit, walk, stand, or lie down, and of your sensations, pleasant or painful. You can notice your thoughts and emotions as discrete aspects of your experience instead of over-identifying with them. You can become more aware of other people and the world around you. You might suddenly notice little things such as the sensation of the sun on your skin, the taste of some type of fruit, or the greenness of the grass on a summer's day. Becoming more aware can be like moving from a 2-dimensional black and white world to one that has 3 dimensions and is saturated with color. So now let's take a moment to bring to mind the present moment awareness. So notice what you're experiencing right now. Are your shoulders relaxed or hunched? And what about your belly? Is it tight or soft? What happens when you bring your attention to these areas? Do they relax a little? Feel free to shift your posture in any way you want as you become more aware. And if it feels comfortable for you, you can close your eyes. Now notice the sensations of contact between your body and your supports. Does your body feel heavy or light, relaxed or tense? Just notice how your body feels without judging your experience. How does the breath in your body feel in this moment? What parts of your body move with the breath? What sounds and smells are you aware of? as this brief exercise of mindfulness meditation comes to a close, this is the quality of awareness that you want to carry into the rest of your day, being alert, engaged, and curious about your experience. The second step, which we went over in a lot more detail last week, moving toward unpleasant aspects of experience. It's deeply counterintuitive and probably comes as a surprise. It may even sound masochistic. In fact, facing pain is essential because those of us with chronic pain usually resist it through trying to block the pain out or else drowning in it. In either case, do we really see the pain for what it is? When you first turn your attention to painful sensations, you may be more aware of your resistance than of the pain itself, but you can work with this by gently leaning into the resistance with your awareness and using your breath to drop your awareness more deeply into your body. You can breathe in with a sense of awareness and breathe out with the sense of letting go. Over time, you can learn to adopt a kindly, non-judgmental attitude to the whole of your experience and allow painful sensations simply to be present. You can develop a caring attitude toward your pain, like that of the natural impulse to gather a child who is hurt and hold them, tenderly. Even though you can't remove the child's pain, the loving response will ease his or her distress. Taking things one moment at a time, it's easy to think that moving toward the pain will add to the sense of drowning, but feeling overwhelmed usually comes from being over-identified with ideas about experience. You might think, well, this is awful, I can't bear it, I hate this, I've been dealing with this pain for 10 years and it will never go away. It's getting even worse. I feel so tired, I won't be able to go out and do anything fun, and my friends will reject me. No wonder I have no friends at all. Before you know it, you're caught up in thoughts about how your pain stretches interminably into the past and will continue indefinitely into the future. When you bring awareness and curiosity to the actual experience of pain, often you find that it's not as bad as you feared. Focusing on direct perception of the sensations rather than ideas about them brings you into the present moment, in which experiences are always fluid and changing. You see that you only ever experience your pain one moment at a time. The fear that gets through until, say, the morning dissolves when you realize that simply had to live each moment, present moment, and it's always bearable, and that the only authentic and sustainable way to be fully alive is to be open to all life's moments, not just the ones that we prefer. So moving toward the unpleasant as you sit or lie down. Again, you can close your eyes if that's comfortable for you, and gently open your awareness to include any unpleasant or painful sensations, and let them enter your field of awareness with an attitude of tenderness and kindly curiosity. Remember to keep breathing. We commonly tense against pain and hold the breath, but see if you can soften toward the pain with gentle breaths. Maybe you are more aware of a sense of resistance and tension than of the pain itself. If so, see if you can investigate this resistance a little more, directly turning your attention toward it, like shining a soft light onto something that's hidden in shadow. Maybe you can lean into it with your awareness, as if you were gently leaning against a dense yet pliant object. Allow it to soften a little with each in and out breath. Maybe you can feel the resistance softening as you let the body settle onto the surface you're either sitting or lying on with each out breath. as you open to the pain itself, notice what the actual sensations are like and sense how they are always changing. Maybe they feel hard and tight one moment, a little softer the next. Or are they sharp one moment and then tingly the next? Can you tell exactly where the pain is located in your body? Be precise about this. You may notice that the pain is more localized than you thought. This may be the first time you've investigated your pain directly, so be patient with any disturbed thoughts or feelings of fear and anxiety that may arise. Notice how these are also constantly changing. See if you can relax a little around whatever unpleasant experiences you notice, and remember to let the weight of your body settle down onto the surface beneath you, and soften your breath each time you notice you're tensing. This third step in developing mindfulness, in fact, grows naturally out of the second, but it may seem even more surprising. It involves becoming sensitive to the pleasant elements of your experience. Hardening against pain also shuts out the pleasurable sides of life, and we lose the sensitivity that allows us to feel vibrantly alive and experience pleasure and love. You might not feel the pain so much, but you'll numb yourself to other people, the beauty of nature, or the simple pleasure of the body's warmth while sitting in the sun. When I've been most able to be with any pain that I might experience, dynamic with, and it's, you notice the changes that occur. It's a dynamic experience. I've also been most in touch with the poignancy and subtlety of the human condition, and most able to appreciate the world around me. As you develop a more straightforward relationship with pain, you make the surprising discovery that there's always something pleasant, even beautiful, in your experience when you look for it. Everyone that I've kind of taken through the experience, kind of just breathing with it and allowing it to be during any type of like bodywork stuff or some sessions or anything like that, where this stuff might be appropriate. Even when it's come to something severe, there has been found something pleasant to focus on, and for those of us living with chronic pain or illness, this can be a revelation. Seeking the pleasant is like being an explorer searching for hidden treasure. It might be as simple as noticing the warmth of your hands, or a pleasant feeling in the belly, or seeing a shaft of sunlight streaming through the window. If you're in has become more mindful, become much more attuned to the subtleties of sensations, noticing, like, for instance, the hair, how it feels against the forehead. When I meditate with my eyes closed and notice the contact between my eyes and eyelids, through such sensitivity, the present moment becomes richer, more multifaceted, and more alive. What do you do if you can't find anything pleasant? If you have a lot of pain, the suggestion that there is something pleasurable in your experience may seem laughable. You'll need to explore this area with an open mind and a willingness to experience new things, letting go of any fixed ideas about your experience. You may be surprised. And seeking the pleasant isn't simply distraction. Well-meaning friends and professionals may have encouraged you to think positively when you're in any type of pain. And that can be a good advice, but you may simply be painting a veneer of false positivity over your suffering, which is just another form of avoidance. Seeking out pleasant aspects of experience as the third step in this mindfulness experience is different. In the second step, you have acknowledged your pain with kindness, rather than trying to distract yourself from it or blocking it out. This attitude of sensitivity, openness, and honesty to the whole of your experience, including your pain, now allows you to gently turn to the pleasant aspects of the moment that have been there all along, just outside your field of awareness. You can feel stable and whole rather than grasping for pleasure to avoid your pain. Amazing as it can seem, pleasure is always present, but you close yourself to it when dominated by your pain. As you let in pleasurable sensations, you may feel relief that you're at last giving them attention. So now let's take a moment. Start off by being aware of your whole body as you sit or lie down, noticing the breath rising and falling, and allow your body to rest down toward the earth, particularly on each out-breath. Again, if this is comfortable for you, close your eyes. If pain is present, let go of any tendency to tense up and gently shift your focus to notice anything that's pleasant in this moment, like focusing the close-up lens of a camera on a beautiful object. Notice pleasant physical sensations, first of all, no matter how subtle they may be. It might be a sense of warmth in your hands, a pleasant tingling somewhere in your body, or perhaps a sense of relief around the chest area now that you're allowing yourself to come to rest with your experience in its wholeness. Maybe there's a curious sensation in your left earlobe, say, that you realize is pleasant. Spend some time moving through your body with your awareness and pause when you find something pleasurable. Now expand your awareness and notice any pleasant sounds. Spend a few moments simply appreciating them as sounds. Notice any tendency to get caught up in wondering about their source or wanting them to last. Just let them rise and fall. Now, if your eyes are closed, we can open them and look around you and notice anything that's beautiful or pleasant in your immediate environment. It might be the light in the room or a picture on the wall. Just appreciate it as if you're seeing it for the first time. In the fourth step, you broaden your awareness to include both the unpleasant and pleasant aspects of your experience, like switching from a focus to a wide-angle lens. In this stage, rather than focusing closely on sensations of pain or pleasure, you become aware of the diverse aspects of each moment as they come into being and pass away without automatically pushing away the unpleasant or clinging to the pleasant. Practicing mindfulness isn't about escaping difficulty, it's about holding the whole of experience in a wider perspective with equanimity and depth. It's like becoming a bigger container. Often you feel too small to accommodate what happens, as if you are a restrictive and narrow container, and that causes stress. But if you feel yourself to be a bigger container, you can manage whatever happens and maintain perspective with a deep sense of inner spaciousness. Ultimately, the container may be limitless and allow a sense of space, freedom, and stability. If you put a teaspoon of salt in a small glass of water, it will have a strong taste, but if you add the same amount of salt to a lake, the water will be largely unaffected. With mindfulness, you can become like a deep and clear lake. Individual experiences don't overwhelm you, and you can remain steady through life's ups and downs while being honest about what's happening. It can be a huge relief to accept the whole of your experience. It allows you to relax much more deeply. When you experience the sensations of your body right here, right now, whatever they may be, you can rest within it, settling your awareness in the stability of the belly rather than identifying with anxious thoughts in your head about your pain or illness. Truly settling in the body feels like coming home. Another aspect of the fourth step is to become sensitive to and aware of other people. You may notice how you communicate with friends and family and how they communicate with you. As you feel greater emotional robustness and become more able to take things in, you may become less touchy and shrug off difficulties rather than being dragged down by them. You can relax and enjoy other people's company much more. So for this step, we are going to open to the whole of experience. So bring your awareness to your whole experience as you sit or lie down. Notice the broader sense of your body, either on your area of support. Gather your awareness around the breath for a few moments. See if you can feel from the inside how the breath gently rocks the body and settles down onto the earth with each breath. You might imagine you're floating on a gentle ocean swell, being rocked by the constant rhythmic movement. Imagine all the different aspects of your experience in this moment that are taking place within a broad and open field of awareness. Let everything rise and fall with a fluid sense of change and flow, neither pushing away painful experience nor clinging to things you find pleasant. You'll probably find you relax for a moment and then get caught up in particular experiences. Never mind, and every time you notice a moment of resistance or clinging, you can relax back down again into a sense of breadth and openness. Allow your awareness to be centered down in your belly. With this wider perspective, you can move on to the final step here, choosing to respond rather than react to your experiences, especially when they include difficulties. The sense that you have the freedom to choose how you respond is the heart of mindfulness practice. Also is a big foundation to Stoic philosophy as well. In a sense, each of the 5 steps involves choice. You choose to start noticing your experience rather than avoiding it, to move toward the painful and seek out the pleasant aspects, and to broaden out your awareness. These stages tease apart the different aspects of experience, helping you distinguish between primary suffering, the actual painful or unpleasant sensations and secondary suffering, which springs from your resistance to them. This creates a sense of spaciousness, as if you're a bigger container. Rather than feeling your pain is right on top of you, and you're trapped in a battle that leaves no space to choose your response, you can find ways to respond creatively to any circumstances with a soft and pliant heart. The previous steps prepare the way for you to act with initiative and confidence. When life is approached in this way with mindfulness, it can be a stream of choices and creative possibilities instead of continuous distraction and resistance. It's easy to hear about the value of responding, not reacting, and to think that you shouldn't react. You might judge difficult emotions and think that you fail in mindfulness practice if you feel moody or irritable. But mindfulness is being honestly aware of what's happening, not passing on a layer of false equanimity. If you feel grumpy, the practice is to be aware of that without judging, and then you can find the best way to respond. Living with any type of pain is hard, so it's understandable if you feel emotions such as grumpiness or anger. But if you can acknowledge those feelings when they arise, then you will find space around them. Such emotions often feed on themselves in an escalating spiral of blame, self-pity, and rage. But it's always possible to find moments in which you can choose to encourage more helpful states of mind. It isn't easy, and it may be humiliating to face your negativity, but each time you manage this, it's a little taste of freedom. One of the main emotional effects is that you might get impatient and grumpy, especially in lengthy discussions or group situations that require patience. If there's this decision to be made, you just want to make it quickly. And behind this is the thought that the sooner I finish, the sooner I'll be able to lie down. But this attitude is hard for others, and it has affected relationships and friendships. Wish it wasn't like this, but finding that the best thing is just to own up to feeling irritable when it happens instead of thinking that I can prevent it ever arising. Mindfulness practice helps to notice what's happening without being too defensive and to take steps to behave differently. Mindfulness can sound deceptively simple. So I want to go into a few more areas that are particularly relevant to some of us that might be dealing with some stuff right now. Sometimes the experience of physical pain is so intense that you just can't work with it using awareness, no matter how much meditation, relaxation, or other techniques you've practiced. It's important not to feel you failed if you're overwhelmed by your physical experience. It's still possible to get back on track. People sometimes think they can't practice mindfulness and might take other forms of numbing pain and so on. Practicing mindfulness does help many people to feel more relaxed and happy, and also to sleep better, allowing them to reduce any medication that they might use. Keep in mind that you should always make adjustments. And does developing mindfulness of experience, including pain, mean there's no place for distraction? I think it has a place if you take into account your motivation and whether your condition is acute or chronic. With acute types of pain that you know will pass, it can help to take your mind off it to do something more enjoyable than simply watching the pain. But with a chronic condition, continually distracting yourself may create a habit of avoidance that, in fact, brings greater suffering. And any type of pain, if you include the pain in your awareness, you can accommodate it within a broad perspective while getting on with other things and pursuing your interests. This approach makes for a more fulfilling and successful life in the long run. The attempt to escape and deny painful experience is like a compulsive distraction, but an alternative is aware diversion. when you consciously choose to take your mind off the pain by engaging with something else. There's definitely a place for this within mindfulness-based stress management. Often deciding to read a book or watch a movie as a stimulating and enjoyable way to relax helps you have some downtime. And choosing consciously to do so feels very different from just rushing from one distraction to another.